being there with the team and seeing your name pop up on the screen?
Hard to describe. Told these guys when we all got together in August that we really believed that we had an opportunity to do something that's never been done before. Who gets that opportunity? You know, the Cubs, you know, and us. West Virginia's never received an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament in 125 years of baseball. And when that opportunity like that presents itself, it just doesn't happen by accident. You gotta commit to it. You gotta take pride in it. You gotta work toward it. But first thing you gotta do is gotta make a decision that you want to do it, and that's what this team did. I mean, the proof is in the pudding that they made a decision to do this, and let that be a lesson to everybody out there that if you really want to do something special, you can. You can. Just gotta make the decision and back it up with your actions, and that's what this team did. I'm super proud of them.
Does this ease the disappointment last year?
What happened last year? Yeah, I mean, this is a moment in time that these kids will never forget. The administration will never forget, the community probably, and Mountaineer fans everywhere. This is, I don't know, I haven't been here the whole 125 years, but I can't imagine there's any better moment than this one right here, where you literally don't know as you sit there and watch that show if you're in, where you're going, who you're playing, the excitement that erupts out of that room when you see your name get called. That's a feeling that's really, really hard to duplicate.
Think back to 13. Do you think it would take you this long? Did you really know what you were up against when you came here to this program?
We knew it was going to be difficult, but Coach Matlock has been here one day less than I have. I've told people that before, and we knew this day was coming, you know. But we were impatient, and we were teased, you know, and in the last couple of years thought we had a chance to get in but didn't, which was frustrating. But if you look back at some of the programs who go to Omaha consistently now, when they made a decision as a university to be good at baseball, then they became good at baseball, and it didn't happen. The Vanderbilts and the Virginias, when they hired new staffs and built new facilities and did all that, it's a process, you know. As much as you like to think you can go to bed one night and wake up the next day and it's different, it's a process, you know, and it's frustrating to go through at times. You have to be super patient when you don't want to be, but realistically, looking back on it, this is probably about the timeline that it really should have been. But I think we got so good so early that we kind of messed with that timeline a little bit. But realistically, in our 5th season, to come where we came from the year before we got here and joined the Big 12, looks like we're right on track.
Compare this to Charleston Southern, your first one. Was it similar in the way you had to build your team?
Not really. This is a whole different level of baseball, having to beat the TCUs and the Texas Techs of the world on the road and in conference tournaments. And the way we had to do it this year was so difficult without Connor Dotson and Michael Grove and Carter Camp, Jake Potok, go up and down the list of injuries. When that happened, you're thinking, oh, it's just getting harder. It's just getting harder. But when it gets harder, then next man up, you know. And if you got a good team, then next man does step up, and those guys did, and everybody stuck with them and stayed behind them, and it's amazing. You know, only the people in our locker room really know what we go through to get here. But to know what we've gone through this year with this team is literally incredible to get where we are right now.
Building from Charleston Southern, East Carolina to here, were they built differently, the way you constructed those teams, or are they similar?
No, you know, we had jumping into the Big 12 right away, you know, it changes things, you know. And you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't make the Big East tournament, I don't think, the year before we came, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what have we gotten into here? But to come out and have the success that we've had, I'd have to go back and look, but our records against Texas and Oklahoma and Texas Tech, since we've been here in the Big 12, it's 500, if not better. And we're talking about the nation's elite baseball programs with great traditions and that type of thing. So, you know, we've done great. I can't ask for anything more, from administration to the facility is beautiful, and the support from the community. And most of you guys ask a lot of really good questions.
Man, you talked about the things you guys went through to get here. Will you talk a little bit about the character of this team and where it comes from, and also the role that the manager or coach, or whatever you want to call yourself, plays in developing that?
You know, I feel like I don't do much around here. You know, I've got such great people around me. You can't have success in my position if you don't have Derek Matlock and Steve Sabins and Cody. The people around you are what makes you good, you know. Ryan Tuntland, what that kid's done this year as a former player. I mean, to have a good culture in the program, you got to have good people around you, and those guys just the camaraderie and the loyalty. I think the kids see that, and like I said, I just sit back and let my people do what they do, and they're so good at what they do, and motivating these kids to be good. And you know, I owe everything to those guys.
Kids have to self-motivate a little bit too, especially as losses keep building up. Where does that come from, you think?
You know, kids can motivate themselves when you play the Texases and the Oklahomas. That's pretty easy to do as a kid, you know. But when you play, you know, the teams that aren't the marquee matchups, that's where the coaches come in. And if kids need motivating from coaches, that's what coaches do. And, you know, last year I think we could have been in the same position if we wouldn't have lost some of those midweek games. And this year we feel like we addressed that and won the majority of our midweek games. You know, we beat Marshall twice, we beat Pitt twice. We played really good in the midweeks, and I think that's why we're here right now. And again, that's a credit to the coaches and the players they bring in here and the depth we have on our team. If we don't have depth on this team, we're out recruiting right now. You know, we're not even watching the show. And depth comes from those guys out on the road signing players and bringing good players in here.
One of those midweek games was Maryland. To be taking them on as the first game in the tournament. Your recollection of that game and what kind of team you will be facing in the Terrapins?
Well, their best player was out, their shortstop was out, and they have a really good pitcher, a really, really good pitcher that we don't ever see in the middle of the week. You know, that I'm sure we'll see in game one, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be way tougher than it was the first time, even though they beat us. It's going to be way tougher. So, but we're playing pretty good right now. You know, and on a neutral field, you know, that evens things out a little bit. So, pretty excited, pretty confident. I think we got a great draw. You know, we're going to go down there and play with confidence. And I don't know if you heard me in there, but today's feel-good day to celebrate and enjoy what's happened to us. And when the clock strikes midnight tonight, it's time to get serious and go win a regional.
I think BJ will be in a good place going into this, and it didn't throw a whole lot of pitches in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, we'll see. BJ has a bullpen tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. But, you know, other guys threw really well against some other good teams. We went down there and played 4 games and started 3 freshman pitchers in the conference tournament, all who pitched really well. So we have some options there. We just, like I said, we'll think about that when the clock strikes midnight, but this is a feel-good day for me, too.
Has Grove status changed at all, or?
Yeah, he will not be pitching.
He will not be pitching.
Correct.
Any other questions?
Jimmy Galuski, obviously, big series in OKC where he always hits well. Do you feel like he's swinging the bat well going into this?
Yeah, you know, you say from day one, when you're coaching this team, the goal of every season is to play your best baseball at the end. And you look at every hitter in our lineup, they all go through a period in time where they're not swinging it great. Sometimes it's at the beginning, sometimes in the middle, sometimes at the end. Jimmy's swinging it really good right now, you know, down in the conference tournament, so along with a lot of other guys. Most of our guys in the lineup are seeing it really good right now, so I'm super happy where we're at as a team right now.
21 years. I know sometimes you have to manufacture tradition when you haven't been in the regional that long. Does this make it easier now for you a little bit when you go out and talk to kids and say, hey?
Yeah, it's amazing how that when your name pops up on the screen, it's amazing the impact it has. It resonates around the country, you know, because there's a lot of kids out there watching the show just like we are. So now when you call somebody and say, hey, this is Coach Saban's, Coach Matlock from West Virginia, they know. They know. They're starting to find out. So, yeah, hopefully that'll make it easier.
Hey, Randy, you were really close last year. You mentioned midweek games probably got you over the top. Your schedule, non-conference, especially early, was really good. Did you do anything in particular that maybe got you on the right side of the RPI, or strength of schedule, or maybe a lineups in midweek games? I don't know, anything that maybe small things that turned out big?
Definitely. You know, I'm starting to figure this RPI thing out. After about 25 years of coaching, I think I'm starting to figure this thing out. But the best way to do it is to go on the road and play. If you go on the road and play against good teams and win some games, then your RPI is going to be in a good position when the conference starts. And all of the stars aligned scheduling this year, from the fact that we went on the road and played Old Dominion, they had a great season. Went on the road and played Southeast Louisiana, they had a great season. Charlotte had a great season. Tulane won some good games when they come back. All the teams that we went and played on the road had good years, which really helped the RPI. The Big 12 this year was as good as it's been since I've been in the league. So when you play anybody in the league, win, lose, or draw, your RPI doesn't go down much. So from a scheduling standpoint, everything fell into place this year. But you never know how that's going to work out, because I've already got games scheduled for the year 2020 against some really good teams right now. But 3 years from now, you never know what kind of team they're going to have. So it's somewhat of a crapshoot this far in advance, but you like to think that by the time you play them, they'll be good teams. And we always want to challenge ourselves to play the best teams we can. Unfortunately, we have Pitt and Penn State and Maryland and Marshall close by to play those midweek games and I always root for those teams to have great years because of the RPI. If they're having good years and their RPI is good, then that's good for us too.